Hi you guys, we are on week 12 of The Artist's Way with Julia Cameron, and this was a really interesting week. I scheduled something called the Reconnection, which is work that is kind of founded by Dr. Eric Pearl, and there's reconnective healing, and then there's also the Reconnection. And it's two sessions where meridian lines, something about meridian lines are drawn on the body, and it reconnects you to the ley lines of the earth, and really interesting experience. And so for the last couple of nights, I've been waking up at like 4:37 in the morning, and weird things happening, and feeling things in the apartment, and I think it's related to this. I think it started to have its effect even before I had the session. And today I had the session and felt really good afterwards. And then it just kind of hit me after a while. And I was so tired. I almost put off doing this. But I kind of also wanted to document the experience right after it happened too. So And this week I also had, during meditation, I can't remember if it was during morning pages or during meditation this came in, because they kind of are, they're so similar, they're such similar experiences. But I realized that when I kind of get tunnel visioned, that I really need to get out in nature and look at an expansive view, so that I'm kind of expanding my vision, my field of vision, but also it gives me the expanded feeling as well. And it's funny how Julia talks about that in this chapter, in the section, and we're talking about chapter 11 in the book. And she calls it the Zen of sports. Talks about getting outside and moving your body, and being in nature, and how that can give us, be the greatest thing we do for our art, because it kind of expands that sense of self. Instead of just being so self-centered and self-focused, it can expand the vision. And that came in this week before I read the chapter. And so that was really interesting. And I also, it's funny how we're thinking differently about, or being open-minded to changing our view of the Creator or God. If we have like a limited view, oh my gosh, there's lightning. That was crazy. Can you hear that thunder? Oh my gosh. Wow. That was intense. So weird, right? So random. Or is it? But being willing to expand our view, and being open to more of a nurturing sense of the Creator who supports our art. So I can't remember exactly how she said it though. Re-examine our God concept. Does our belief system limit or support creative expansion? Can we be open-minded about altering our concept? So that came in, and I don't know if it was this week or last week, where I started in my morning pages, I think it was this week, writing the questions from A Course in Miracles. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? And kind of listening to the guidance there. That's straight from A Course in Miracles. And learning to trust, the answer, and to also trust that just because I want or desire something doesn't mean it's for me. So I guess expanding my willingness to participate in this experience of life, even if I don't really fully understand everything, and knowing that I have limited a limited view. So just because I want something now, or think I want something, or think that something will be right for me, doesn't make it so. So trusting myself enough to be able to handle what was meant for me, and to trust the Creator more, so that I'm not just like, and that's the balance that we're working on in here too, in this chapter. Doing what's doing enough that creates certain income, or security and stability in our lives, but also making a lot more room for our artistic endeavors too, and taking certain artistic or creative risks. This lightning is so distracting. Seems to be moving away though, the storm. So yeah, and so working that out for ourselves, and for Easter, just 2 days ago, I went to my aunt and uncle's house, and my cousin, and on my mother's side, and my aunt was there too, and we were all kind of celebrating together. We put in these home movies that I had never seen, and we were laughing and making fun of each other and for a while, and then we got to a point in the video that none of us had really watched or seen before, and my grandfather had like one of the oldest versions of the video camera, and was like showing pictures of like doing like a slideshow manually, and like speaking captions to the videos or to the pictures, and he was so funny and creative, and I often forget that, and it just made me feel even more connected to my sense of creativity, because it's right there is so recently in my ancestral line, and I would often think about the musicians on my father's side of the family, and but since I'm a woman, I'm more influenced by my mother's side. That's family constellation theory. But standing in my mother's side, in my mother's lineage, looking back and seeing all the creativity there flowing through, just a direct line to me and my sacred feminine, it made me feel like there's some balance happening there too, where I can connect that to my feminine side. And that felt really much more powerful in a way, because also I'm receptivity, it keeps coming back as a theme as well. And this week we're taking stock in all the changes we've made, and we're taking inventory and kind of looking back at all the changes we've made, future changes, and I can really say that the morning pages alone have helped me with my writing. It's just much more fluid. I'm not overthinking. I'm not burning out my mental energy by trying to perfect what I'm writing, because I write every day for work. And I do like a crystal reading every day for one of my social media jobs, and you can check that out. It posts on YouTube or on Instagram and Facebook, and I link those in the description. You can check those out. I do that every single day, and it's been much more fluid thanks to I think it's really because of the morning pages. It just helps you get things out of your head. I don't overthink it. It really has unblocked that for me. We're also looking at ways we can nurture ourselves every day this next week. She's like, really splurge. And it's funny how I'm doing this reconnection, and I do plan on doing the reconnective healing sessions. You only have to do the reconnection once, and you'll consistently be connected. You don't have to do it more than one time in a lifetime, and then I guess then you're able to pass on the connection, and that just really interested me. I just wanted to try it, and I felt very tired today, but it was such an interesting, really cool experience. I was thinking Carolyn Meese is doing this medical intuition course, and I watched like part of one of the presentation videos, and it just was so interesting, and I thought maybe that could be for me, because we're supposed to look at maybe an upcoming course we want to take. And I also in the next 6 months want to visit my friend Israel, and he lives in Hollywood, Florida now, and I've seen everywhere he's ever lived in his whole life, and he says it won't feel like home until I visit him there, and I definitely want to plan on doing that in May or June. And I was thinking of possibly studying the reconnective healing modality. We'll see. Oh, and we're supposed to write a letter to our inner artist and mail it so we can receive it in the mail. And remember that our inner artist loves praise, encouragement. It's a child, and exciting adventures and things like that. So writing a letter. We're also meant to, and I still have to do this part, is buy a creative journal or notebook for our creativity, and number the first 7 pages, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then dedicate each one to the following categories of health, possessions, leisure, relationships, creativity, career, and spirituality. And then without thinking about practicality, write 10 wishes in each area. So that'll be interesting. She says get creative with that, so I'll have to do that. Just getting a creativity journal or notebook. I think that's pretty much it. This week was about autonomy. Yeah, just getting clear about what exactly we need, what exactly is the right, because she also mentioned that some people would find it helpful to have a 9 to 5. It would give them structure, so they were able to then create, and that was good for them. And then others would feel like it drained them too much, so they weren't able to go on and create. And I often felt like having a 9 to 5 was good for me, something that had some structure and was scheduled, but I always found that the schedules there were never consistent. I would be opening one day and closing the night before, and then opening the next day, and it was just like, it was too much. I think it could be helpful for me to have a job that is a little more structured, but 8 hours is just so long to be in one place for me. I get bored so easily in that and feel trapped, and unless the work is really interesting. But usually it's not in those situations. And freedom is so important to me. So that's why I found jobs where I had a lot more freedom, like social media work. I can do it whenever I want to, you know. There are deadlines, which are really helpful to me, but I'm not trapped in a set schedule every day. And it only hurts me if I don't, you know, work in a timely manner, because then it prolongs the output, you know. So that's really good for me. Doing my own work is really good for me. but still I feel like there's something missing that I need a little more structure. So looking for that missing piece would give me a really good balance. She also talked about, like, if you love to sing, sing. If you love to write, if writing makes you happy, write, you know. You don't need a reason for it. Just because it's not making you money in the moment doesn't mean it's not worthwhile activity. So just really getting clear, more self-awareness, but more self-awareness also through the bigger picture and the expanded view, you know, like the person running and connects to the bird in the sky and has the bird's eye view then, but then also feels more centered and balanced in their own self view. So things like that, like getting out in nature. I was really, I mean, I wasn't surprised, because at this point I feel like she's reading my mind. I don't know if you feel that way too, but just the fact that I had that intuitive hit when I was writing, and it's just synchronicity after synchronicity in this process like that, where something will come to me and then I'll read it in the next chapter and it's like I feel tuned into her, or she's tuned. I feel more like she's tuned into me, like she just is tuned into this process so deeply. But next week we'll be recovering a sense of faith. So that was my experience this week. It was really incredible. I'm excited to do my next reconnection session for the reconnection on Thursday. So we'll see, because you need 2 sessions, I guess, and so we'll see what happens there. I hope you guys have a great week. Like this video so I know you're watching. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for notifications. I will see you next week. Bye, you guys.